I don't know. It was like I was like, this is gonna be easy, and I
Mm.
looked at it and I was like, it's not gonna work.
Well, give me access to your teacher's Canvas page so I can go ahead and put that grade in there.
Oh Lord.
I'm joking. Awesome. Well, we're starting right on time, so we have time to go over it. And since it's just you and the coaches here, you get like an intimate one-on-one session with us for your script. Okay.
Okay.
Your eyes got so big just now. All right, so let's review quickly. Do you remember the 4 P's? If you don't, it is okay. Do you remember the 4 P's of podcasting?
Mm, no. No,
Okay,
I
here's a
don't.
hint. They all start with the letter P.
Wow, that was so helpful.
Anything for you, girl. Plan, plan.
Plan.
Oh my goodness,
Oh my
yes.
God.
So smart.
Oh,
Publish,
okay.
produce,
And
Promote.
it was promote.
yeah.
Oh wow.
All
See,
right.
it's my memory. It's just not working today. It's
It's
too
been a
early.
long time since the last time we saw each other. 7 whole days. It's okay. So we're going to just go ahead and put that in the chat because we will refer to it later. So first we plan, then we
um, promote. No, publish.
before we
Oh,
publish, we have to
uh,
Produce.
produce. I did not know what you was
publish and then and then promote. All right. So our planning stages was last week, right? And we talked about what your podcast would be about. We even went over a name that you were considering. Are those still the same?
saying. I mean, yeah, it's the
Okay.
same.
So now we go into the producing part. So we're going to work on what your script would look like. And then I'm going to talk to you about recording with what you have on hand, which is always in our hand, which is our cell phone. So like going over like what device you have, the app that would be great for you. And then we're going to talk about putting it all together. So with producing, first step with your script based off of your name and your subject. What are we talking about in this episode? What do you want us to get into in your first episode about this topic? And for Miss Bianca, India, if you want to give a quick review over what you want to focus on in your podcast so she knows, so she can follow along.
Oh, I wanted to because I put this in my notes. Are you talking about the topics or the audience?
The topics.
Okay. It was conspiracy theories, um, hmm, mental health. All I see is teen tales. Teen tales? Was that one of them?
Mhm.
Because
So
it's just in the
mainly
chat. I was like,
when you and the fellow were talking about different things that you want to talk about, I said if we put it all together, it could be teen tales, like TALES. And from there, you could talk about different things of like you all mentioned how it is to be a teenager, and the song Parents Just Don't Understand came in my head. And so, would you like to focus on that today, or would you like to focus on the conspiracy theory type podcast?
the teen thing,
Okay.
probably.
Let's go for it. So, first up, you have your intro. This podcast is brought to you by, so I'm going to put it in the chat. What I like to do is listen and write. So, you can talk, and as much as I can get, I'm going to type it. Okay. So, you're going to go ahead and fill in these blanks for me. I'll help you. I'll help you. All of us on the call, if they're available to give some words of advice or some one liners, they got you too. This is a safe space, India. It's a safe space. We got you. All right. So go ahead and get us started. I will say it would be great to say the name of this organization. So it was this episode is being brought to you by Uptown. Got it?
Okay.
All right. It's all on you. I'm going to go ahead and mute just because I don't want you all to have to hear me typing.
Um. Okay. Nervous. This podcast has been brought to you by Uptown Fresh. Do I say my name? No. Don't. Wait, do I? Yeah? Yeah?
Look at that next line.
Oh, okay. So just go straight into that. I thought I said my name. I was asking, like, do I say an intro tag or no? Okay. Okay. I got you. Okay.
I have a
This,
question. So when we're on the intro monologue right now,
We just finished the intro tag. Now we're starting the intro monologue.
so in other words, it might be, good morning, everybody. This is Joseph Wilkerson from the WTF podcast. Um, Today's episode might be this, that, and the other, or is she just kind of doing her opening jingle?
So it would be like the opening before the jingle. So, hey, this is your girl India coming back at you again with the So and So podcast, or introducing you to the So and So podcast.
Right.
For all my teenagers out there, you are in for a treat. Boom, the jingle.
Gotcha. Got it, India?
that was so smooth. I'm like,
Right, but it's a part of the process, and when you find those catchphrases that you're like, you know what, I really like what I said and I want to use that as my opening. But this is the process. Okay.
Mhm.
am I still saying? Yeah. Okay. Never mind. Okay. This. Okay. This podcast has been brought to you by Uptown Fresh. I am no this. This is India Jones. Okay. I don't know if I'm gonna say India, but for right now, I'm gonna just say India. Okay. This is India, and
I'm coming live to you from the basement, my underground lair where I produce this podcast.
oh, you want me to say that?
No, I'm just giving you some ideas. I
Oh,
mean,
okay.
basically, if you were if we were on the street and this is like the elevator pitch. Hey, my name is India. I do this podcast. What is those 2 or 3 sentences that would give me an idea of who you are, and what kind of podcast that you're doing? Yes.
All right, let's take a breather and think about it this way. If you are making a podcast about animals, and let's say your name is Joe, how would you start it off? I'll give you some examples. Let's say my name is Jack. Hey, y'all, welcome to this episode is brought to you by Petco. This is Jack, no kangaroo, and I'm here getting into what animals do all day, every day. I made a little joke, Jack, no kangaroo, kangaroo Jack, and then I let you know what we're talking about. Let's say we were talking about conspiracy theories, and you start off with, hey, this is Alex. And I know I'm not the only one who thinks that aliens exist. And if you think that aliens are among us, go ahead and keep listening, like stuff like that. Let's see, who do you listen to? Hey, it's Takashi 69. I don't know why I always use that as a reference. Hey, who do you listen to? Young Boy.
No, I listen to Erica.
Oh yeah, Substance. All right. Hey, this is Erica Badu coming to you with all the voodoo, hoodoo, and soul vibes. Stay stay tuned because I'm getting into why we should all be spiritual. Dun, 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 the jingle. So think of it like that. This is Airwaves India. This is India on the mic. This is
Can I ask a
India. I
question?
got your attention. How would you
Can I,
want to grab that audience? Yes.
DJ, when you did your the artistry, how did your intro go? Could you share that?
Well, it was basically, I'm DJ Herb, artist, and welcome to Witness the Artistry. And today I have a special guest, and then I let the guest chime in. So it was a short introduction. We also had a lot of artwork involved in the background, and we went straight forward. So I introduced myself, and we went straight to it.
And Sandras, do you have anything like that? Because you have your Chloe project.
Right, right. So I would start off by saying, my name is Sanders Jackson, the creator of Chloe the Jumbo Jet for parents and educators who want to build qualities of empathy, compassion, and uh, cultural sensitivity into their children. Chloe the Jumbo Jet provides travel related content for kids to get to know the world around them and make it a better place.
And Bianca, have you done anything similar that you could share?
Unfortunately, no, but I was going to mention India because I know you were saying that your mom was telling you something about, I forgot how you mentioned it, but it was like the highs and the lows, or like the majors and the minors dealing with your name.
Yeah.
You might want to incorporate that too if you feel like you want something that's kind of unique like that, because I think that's really, I thought like it. I thought it was really unique. So you can talk about, I'm trying to kind of have it going with conspiracy theories, but like the majors and the minors of the world that we live in now, or something like that. Like just something that you can like just really catchy, I think would be really good. But I think just anything dealing with you personally, like whatever you feel like, what intrigues you about conspiracy theories. And it doesn't have to be like, I know everybody else here has experience with podcasts, so they're able to make it like really snappy, but just whatever I think has that personal connection for you would be good, I think.
Yeah. Everybody
Okay.
in here is just like so good with it, so smooth with it. I'm just like,
Trust me,
That comes with practice, lots of
it
practice.
does. Yeah.
And you can also play with like the introduction and play with words. Like for example, like what I did, I used to like the welcome part was like a long pause for me to get everybody's attention. So I would say welcome, welcome, welcome. So it wasn't just straightforward as if I was reading a prompt, but it was a setup for me to welcome everybody. So it was a welcome, welcome, welcome. So you can kind of play with the words and the terms and use your time and introduce people as well.
Okay.
You
All
said
right.
you
So you're ready to give it another go?
that thing.
oh, I'm not
You
ready.
said you write music,
I
India,
mean,
right?
once again, I would just say, uh, welcome everybody. My name is India, and the name of your podcast, and that might be it for right now. I mean, maybe you'll build on it a little bit later as you get a little bit more comfortable with, the setup. I'm gonna invite Matthew in.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Go ahead, India. Let's give it another try. It hasn't to be perfect, but it's a process, and this is what we're here for. Good morning,
Um,
Matthew. Good morning, Matthew.
Good morning.
Uh, if Racquel wants to give Matthew a quick update on what we're trying to do today.
Hey, Matthew, how are you?
Good.
All right, we are glad to see you on the call. So we are going over podcast production. And so last week we started talking about the 4 Ps. Can you tell us the 4 Ps, India, really quickly? It's in the chat.
plan. Hold on. Plan, produce, publish, promote.
All right, plan, produce, publish, and promote.
And Matthew, have you ever done a podcast before or been interviewed on a podcast? And or do you know what a podcast is?
I know it's when people talk about stuff. And no, I have never done one.
All right. So podcasts for you all, the best example would be pretty much a radio show without music constantly being played throughout and cutting up the interviews. And so we went over like some different types of podcasts. And so you have like podcasts that could talk about crimes or conspiracy theories, or people may just be ranting about life or get interviews. And so we talked about which ones we would want to do. And so does anything stick out to you? If you were to start a podcast, does any topic stick out?
A song that I like.
So would music be something that you like, because podcasts, they have more than one episode. So like would music be something like do you think you could come up with content every single week about different music? Okay. And so Matthew, go ahead and start thinking about a name. Music with Matt. Think of catchy names that would be the name of your podcast. I'll give you a few seconds. I'm not going to put you on the spot right now, but when you come up with something, feel free to just like either unmute or put it in the chat. Uh-oh, Matthew's ready. Woo, woo.
Bye Bye Blues.
Ah, deep. Bye Bye Blues.
Okay.
Bye Bye Blues. Really nice. Okay. So now that we've gotten you caught up, you are focused on music, and the name of it is Bye Bye Blues. We're going to catch you up with India. And so we're going over how your script would look. So for starters, we have the intro tag. And so far, we have put this podcast has been brought to you by Uptown Fresh. All right. So now we're going to come up for both of you all. You're going to come up with a quick, like, 2-liner about who you are and what this podcast is about. So, India, we're going to let India go. She's gotten some examples, and hopefully you're able to catch up and go from see what's needed based off of her example.
Okay. Okay, sorry. This is hard. Okay. This is India. This is India. This podcast is about teen life tales. Should I say tales or no?
Now, weren't you also going to cover music?
Oh yeah.
So this is India, the name of your podcast, where we cover everything from teen videos to music production for the time being. How's that?
Okay.
Okay. All right, start from the beginning.
Okay. This is India. We will be covering everything that from teen life. I'm not sure if you said life, teen.
That sounds good.
Okay, to music production and conspiracy theories. And today we'll be talking about the teen stuff, teen things. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. This is hard.
Okay, but what's the name of the podcast? Because I don't think you got that in. Do you remember the name of your podcast?
So I say the because I thought after brought to you by Uptown Fresh, do I still put my podcast or just Uptown Fresh?
All right, so I'm going to stop the share. I compiled mostly everything that you said into an intro, and DJ has something as well. Can you try reading what's in the chat and see if that feels natural to you?
Okay. This podcast has been brought to you by Uptown Fresh. Welcome to Teen Tales. This is India, and this podcast is for teens, by teens, covering teen life, music production, and even giving you our take on conspiracy theories. For today's episode, we are giving you the real on teen life. I like that. I don't know how you did that, but I like
Yeah,
that.
I
You
like it
said
too.
it.
I like
You
it too.
said
It's a
it.
good job.
All right. And DJ, did you have something you wanted to add with that? Oh, wait, DJ?
It's two DJs.
All right.
Young
DJ,
DJ, go ahead.
am
Good
I
brother.
saying Fahim correctly? All right. DJ Fahim, go ahead and you can orally say what you're thinking. You can type it in the chat. You can orally say it and I type it. He's ready. Oh, India. India, practice your lines. If you can you mute yourself and then practice how you want to deliver that. I didn't put the right punctuation in every single part because I was trying to get everything. But what words, while you're practicing, what words do you want to emphasize? What words may you want to draw out? When would you like to speak faster, slower? I'm going to do it one time if I was to do it, but you're not me. And so your words are going to flow differently for how your style. DJ, I'm going to come back to you in a second. This podcast has been brought to you by Uptown Fresh. Pause. Welcome to Teen Tales. This is India, and this podcast is for teens by teens, covering teen life, music production, and even giving you our take on conspiracy theories. Pause for today's episode, and we're pausing there because every time we make a podcast, you can use what we just said right there, cut it, and then start for today's episode. You get it? So every time you use that clip, you stop it at for today's episode and you make a new clip. So this is becoming evergreen content because you're always going to be India. It's always going to be Teen Tales. You're always going to be bringing the podcast brought by Uptown Fresh, and you're always going to be talking about teen life, music production, and conspiracy theories. So that is evergreen content. Then from there, so I took a deep pause so that I could crop that, or not crop it, but edit it later, trim that. For today's episode, we are giving you the real on teen life. I drew out the word teen life. Paused again because now we're gonna layer that with the jingle. Was that too much?
It was a lot, but I'm taking it in, Yeah.
All right, I will let you practice, and DJ Fahim is going to work on his now. I'm typing as you talk. Is it okay if we do it that way?
Can you screen share again?
Yes, sir.
When I read the steps.
Okie doke. We are on intro tag and intro monologue.
All right. This podcast is brought to you by Bye Bye Blues. My name is DJ Fahim. This podcast is about the culture of music.
All right. So when we start off, we're going to say this podcast is brought to you by Uptown Fresh. So that's like the umbrella of the podcast. So like an umbrella, you get how umbrella like protects everything that's under it. So first we would have Teen Tales, which is by India. Then we'd have your podcast. So it's brought to you by Uptown Fresh. Like that's the big company. And then talk about you. So this podcast is brought to you by Uptown Fresh. But other than that, it sounds perfect. If you can repeat that again so I can type it so we don't lose it.
This podcast is brought to you by Uptown Fresh. I'm DJ Fahim. This podcast is about the culture of music. You can plan to experience a lot of emotions.
That's good.
Good job.
Very good.
All right, I'm just typing that last bit. Maybe.
Also, the reason I named it Bye Bye Blues was because um, that's the first song that I ever made that got
Beautiful.
published on SoundCloud.
Love it.
What was that, Matthew?
The reason why I named my podcast Bye Bye Blues was because that was my first song that I ever came out with that got on SoundCloud.
Oh, that's awesome.
Good
I'll have to
job.
listen to
Good
it.
job.
All right. All right, I'm going to put that in the chat. Everything you said. Buckle up. So I added some things as well. Let me know if you want me to take anything out, if it feels natural, if you want to add things. Mm. Nothing but culture and music. What do you think about that? India, how's it coming along?
Good. I typed my own, like I did a few like changes just in my name and the podcast name. So okay, do you want me to say it?
Mm-hmm. And DJ Fahim is saying thumbs up. Anything you want, and you can work on anything that you choose to change while India's going over hers. Or if everything's fine, just go ahead and practice where you feel like you should pause, get louder, get lower, drag out a word, say a word faster, make it feel like you. All right, India.
Hey love, this podcast has been brought to you by Uptown Fresh. Welcome to Majors and Minors in the Key of Annalise. This is Annalise. And this podcast is for teens, by teens, covering teen life, music production, and even giving you our take on conspiracy theories. For today's episode, we are giving you the real on teen life.
That was awesome. Good job.
It
Yes,
was
professional. That was
very,
great.
very, very good.
Good
Thank
job.
you.
And based off of your smile, you feel good about it.
Yes, it felt natural.
Yeah. Highlight of my day. Beautiful, beautiful. We love to see it. All right. So now that you have that, we're going to go back to Fahim for 1 second. But how would you want your intro jingle to sound? Okay. I'm going to play, and it's not necessarily like I'm like, okay, I need you to come back in 3 minutes and I need you to have written the song, gotten the beat, brought me a rapper that can play it, show us right now. None of that. But do you want it to be upbeat? Do you want, like, you could even pull up samples of how you would want it to sound. I want this sound effect. I would want a male or a female voice saying this part. Just give yourself a few seconds to think about how it would sound. And guess what? Some jingles aren't always like music. For example, I listen to Morning Cup of Murder, and I'll play that when we're ready to move on with Fahim. But they just have random people talking, random news anchors, police officers, and they mush it all together. And then she goes, "Welcome to your Morning Cup of Murder," and that's it. And then I'll give you an example of the one that I have for my podcast as well. All right, Fahim, how's it coming along? All right. And for you, since you named it Bye Bye Blues, would you consider having the song Bye Bye Blues, a clip of that as your jingle?
Yep, that's what I was just about to ask.
Is this still cool? That's my response to that. Awesome.
That's a good question.
All right, so now that we're both caught up on that, now that you're both caught up on that portion, keep thinking. How long would you want it to be, Fahim? Do you want it to start at the first 10 seconds, or just the first 10 seconds? Or are you really just looking for that part where the beat drops at 35 seconds to 49 seconds? What are you thinking? So,
honestly, there's this part of my song that just goes like, "Bye bye blues, bye bye blues."
Okay, and you want that one?
Mm-hmm.
Well, if it's on SoundCloud, that means you can pull it up right now. So start working on pulling that up so we can hear and get a feel. You got it up?
I already got it pulled up.
See? Stay ready so you don't have to get ready. That's what I'm talking about. All right. And I see India actively searching. We're going to give her some time. Fahim, what you got for me?
Bye bye blues. How do I share my sound on here?
Are you able to share your screen? Usually if you don't press anything but just press share sound at the bottom, it should allow you to do that clearly. And if not, you can put it in the chat and I can pull it up.
It just says host disabled attendee screen sharing.
Try now.
Okay, I just made him a co-host, so he should be able to share at this point. All right, try it now.
All right.
I think you have to go to where it says share screen at the bottom.
Hold on. This share screen thing is in my way. There we go. All right.
Let's get it, yeah. I made this song when I was 11 years old. I made it when I was all alone. When I was stuck in my lonely zone. Working all day. Working all day. Let the summer breeze all on my face. Family by my side. It's a good day. Playing these games. Work hard every day just so I get paid. The business house. Work hard every day, get paid. That's how I play. Not no more. Bye bye blues. Bye bye blues. Bye bye blues. Feel the summer breeze with bye bye blues. Bye bye blues.
If it wasn't for her, I don't think I would have invented all the things I have.
That was the part.
Nice. Definitely at 46 to 58. And then, or was it, even if you want to start it with the lyrics, like I think it was like 32 to 58. That was nice. To just that clip right there.
Not no more. Bye bye blues. Bye bye blues.
Good job, young man. Good job. I like that. That's very good. Good job.
Awesome.
Awesome. Yeah, very good. India also makes beats, so I'm pretty sure there'll be some conversations, and there could be some cross promoting. You know, you can interview her on your podcast, she can interview you on her podcast. So there's a lot of, synergy that's being built.
Definitely. And India, while you're still thinking, I'm going to pull up the audio for Morning Cup of Murder so you can see it doesn't have to just be a song. I would love for it to be because, majors and minors, and I know that you can sing, so,
Oh, Lord. Who told you that?
This episode is sponsored by the game Best Fiends. Sometimes I need a break from all of the news articles and true updates. Great, your own. Sat on
telephones and electricity lines. We have a weird homicide. Scene described by one investigator as reminiscent of a weird
cup of murder. Adolescence can be a. So that was her jingle. Could you all hear that clearly?
Yes.
And then for mine's, it doesn't fit that 15-second. It goes for a minute. But I'm like, hey, I paid somebody for it. I'm going to get this song in. And I feel like it's a turn up song. And so Mr. Joseph made a really great point about like cross-pollinating and just getting your friends in on it, people you know. And so for myself in particular, I just went ahead and got someone that I went to high school with that makes music. And it was just like, hey, how much for a jingle? And she's like, it's you, $30. And I'm like, okay, cool. And so even with the beat, it was somebody I went to high school with as well. And he has a website. And I'm like, hey, you got your beats up there. I'd like to pay for Sweet Dreams. And he's like, oh, barter, just shout me out and you can have it for free. And so just having situations like that is always great. You're just always remember there's a chance to network with everybody that you know, because everybody has some sort of talent that is not just helpful for you, but that you want to support. So I will go ahead and play that. Combos with Kelly, kicking it with Kelly, about that time, hope you're ready. It's her podcast, every Monday, we call it a fun day. Watch it, you kept plenty topics to share, cultures, opinions, news, your views, overcoming your fears, what would you do? What's your story, tell me, what's new? All righty, so that's another example. DJ Fahim has his. Make sure you know those exact seconds where you want to start and stop. That'll be a good thing to write down too. When so that you know when you're putting it all together, you know where to trim it at. And then India, any updates? If not, I can sing on it. Oh yeah.
I was listening to a few of the beats that I made, and I mean, I don't know, like, I like the beats, but I don't know which one, like, I would put. I don't know if it's like the type of vibe that I really want to give off.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay. I mean, I can let y'all hear, I guess.
Let's hear it.
Okay. This is not the beginning. I just went to like the middle part of this one beat because that's the part that is my favorite. But okay, it's on my phone. Okay, so that was one part. I was like, maybe that part.
Okay, fresh kid. All
Do you
right.
do you play do you play the piano?
Yeah, I do know how to play the piano.
Okay.
Awesome.
Is that your piano playing, or did you edit that in from something else? Just out of curiosity.
That was me just like putting, like I wasn't like actually like recording and playing. I mean, I played the notes and I just put it in on the screen on the because I use FL Studio, so I just put it in, punched it in.
Booty loops.
Okay.
All
Yeah.
right.
Very nice.
Okay, here's another one. Oh no, not that one. Sorry.
Can I also say something else?
Yeah.
Don't for me personally, when I was doing my YouTube channel, based on the arts, I actually would put in different music intros. So, I don't think you necessarily have to have one particular soundtrack as your overarching, this is my soundtrack when I'm introducing myself in this particular podcast. You could be a little bit more creative, and since you are a beat maker, to make beats for each of your, or put in different beats for each of your podcasts. And sometimes sometimes your music can almost dictate what kind of podcast it might be on top of that.
Yes, what you saying that it gave me the idea of maybe like do different, like it's the episode, but like different, I don't know, I say maybe series of like maybe like for when I'm talking about teen tales, then I have this one sound, and then conspiracy theories, I might have another sound. So like, or when I'm doing interviews or stuff like that, then I have a different sound. So like put them up in like series, I guess.
Exactly.
And that serves as your transition. One person that does that really well is Amanda Seals. And so she has different sections of her podcast. And then from there might be one where she focuses on people. It's called like people I like. And she'll have that sound effect, have like a little bit of music, and she goes, people I like, and then it transitions. And then for her next thing, she'll have a different sound effect and a little bit of music in her voice. So that sounds like an awesome idea. And what I put in the chat was, if you do want to stay consistent with one jingle in the front, even like for mine, there's people that's like, I want to rap on the beat, and I'm like, cool, do that. Like that could just be our thing, where even though I have the same beat, there's a different voice. Maybe you have the same voice because your voice is not going to change, but you can start off with your tagline, and from there that's a song is playing, but people know I heard her voice, so I know it's her podcast. I clicked on the right thing. But what I put in the chat was, bring the audience in on the process. If you choose, maybe you have a different one over the course of 4 weeks, and that's bringing audience engagement. That's helping with your promotion. And so you're saying, hey, vote on the one you like, and then by the 5th week, you're able to say, hey, I casted your votes. I got your votes in from my Instagram post, because you can like and do questions and polls on your Instagram story. Hey, based off my Instagram story, you all said you were feeling week 2. Let's go ahead and run it back. And then, hey, we're going to play this song as our jingle for the next few weeks. The next voting process takes place at this week or that month. But because it's a music podcast, you have your options are really limitless. So that's really cool. And then Fahim, you're picking back up on the show content. How's that going for you? Have any questions? Need any help?
I already have my seconds to the song that I wanted to play.
Okay.
And of course, I already have my intro. And no, I'm good.
Okay. And so, of course, we're not going to finish the whole thing today and put it together, because that takes a lot of time. But I did want us to get into the routine of how it all works out, right? And so as you all kind of begin working on your show content, I'm going to show you the next step in making it as well as promoting it. So we're down to the last P, India. All right. So let's go into that. I'm stressing you out.
You really are.
Yes.
What time does this class go up to?
12 o'clock. But you were late, so you get to end at 12:16. He's like, okay, I'm joking, DJ Fahim. I'm joking. So that works for me. That means you are committed to your craft. I love it. All right. Give you all a few more seconds for that, and I'm going to go ahead and pull up what I use to edit.
Do you use Video Maker or Video Editor?
No. I do use Final Cut Pro. But then for this one, for the podcasting in general, because usually I'm not showing video, like it's great. It's so much easier because you can scan through, look when you made this face or when that person moved and you know how to chop it. So it is a lot easier that way to edit it on Final Cut Pro. But because I'm usually not showing my face and showing the person that I'm interviewing, I'm just using voice memo from my phone. I just use Adobe Audition. So I can't see any visuals, just the audio. But you sound like you are skilled in those two. You said it was Video XR. What did you say it was called?
Video Maker.
Video Maker. Awesome.
We learned about it in our last video production meeting.
Nice.
Yeah, that was with Eddie. And we're gonna get back around to working on some of those individual skills as far as the affinity photo, getting back to the video stuff. And then we'll have to have a conversation with Racquel as far as bringing her back for a potential third class. But we'll get back to that, DJ Fahim.
Awesome. All righty. So after you have gotten your script down pat, again, we talked about we had three different types. So for some, three different types to make a type of ways to make a podcast. And so you could just have that interview back and forth, that one skilled person that's telling the story, that's researched it, or it can just be a gang of people that's all hanging out, the crew, and they're all talking, right? And so for some, specifically with the people who are doing the storytelling, when I do episodes like that, I type out what I'm thinking because I can tend to be a little long-winded and flighty. And I'm the person that if you, India, bring up a random topic.
Butterflies.
By the time I'm finished, we are talking about snails that live in Australia. Some way, somehow. And so me writing it makes it clearer for me. And then I'm just reading it on both a voice memo on my phone. And so before we get into Adobe Audition, what devices are you using? What cell phones do you have?
I have the iPhone 11 Pro
iPhone
Max.
11. Okay.
Yeah.
So you would use voice memo. And this is just for starters. When we get super, super fancy, it'll be totally different. But for starters, voice memo works really, really well for iPhones. DJ, do you have a phone?
Not over at my dad's house.
Not over at your dad. Well, what type of phone do you have?
Over here or over at my mom's house?
You're not going to need it today. So, but either or.
I have a LG Tribute Royal.
All right. And so we would look up to see which app works for LG. And usually if you type in voice or voice record, it will come up and then you're able to use that app that already comes on your phone. We already have that. You all are blessed enough to already have it on your phone and you don't have to walk around with a tape recorder. Do you all know what a tape recorder is?
Yes.
What? Okay,
So
I'm not
happy
that
to
old. Thank you.
Happy to be in the era of technology.
Awesome. And so after you went in and made those clips, you would put them on whichever app that you're choosing. For me, I use voice memo. And so I'm able to record on my phone wherever I choose to record. And then that same app is on my computer. And so all I do is pull up that app and all my recordings from my phone are already on my computer. But again, everybody's phone or their devices are different. So once I have those, I go over to Premiere Audition. And I love video editing, audio. It seems super simple, but you just want to make sure you get those cuts and transitions the right way. So I go in, I go through the interview, listen to it one time, and then I go through and mark where I want certain things to stop. And so I'm editing along the way. This one was a really good one, thank God. I believe I saw C. Andrews this day when I was editing this one because I'm like, I don't have to chop anything. We actually had a full-blown conversation without distractions. But usually other ones are like chop, 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 chop. And I may chop it right here. And of course, I'm not going to go into the whole editing process because we all have different computers. And so you may not have a MacBook. And so seeing me do this would be kind of pointless right now at this stage. So I would chop, maybe have some voice transitions, maybe have a sound effect, et cetera, et cetera. And from there, I export. One thing I do love about Adobe Audition is that you are not waiting all day for your product. What you all will learn with your music production, video production, whatever you choose to do, things like Final Cut Pro literally take all day. Like a 2-minute video, some way, somehow will render for what seems like 42 hours.
Mm.
It's not like that with podcasting and Adobe Audition, so that makes me happy. From there, what I am going to encourage to use is Anchor. Anchor is free right now. And again, India, they did not pay me to endorse them during this call.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
so I'm just letting y'all know my 100 views, but nonetheless, Anchor right now seems like it is doing pretty well with distributing podcast episodes. What's really cool about this is that you are able to download your episodes so that they can come out when you want them to come out, right? And from there, so let's say you edit 4 podcast episodes, which is great. You want to just get them done, get it over with, but you don't want to put them all out in one day. You want your audience to continue to come back. And so with Anchor, you're able to schedule when you want those podcast episodes to come out. And then, which is what I really like, and I just got started, so I'm proud of my little 686 views or plays. What they do is give you the data. When you make it big, because it's going to happen, you're able to pull the data. These Instagram influencers that you see, these YouTube influencers, the way that they get endorsements, the way that they get their free microphones and free pianos and free DJ equipment is because they're able to show the data. And they pull this up, they get the metrics, and they're able to say, okay, I started my podcast in August, right? They're able to say, here's my data. These are the amount of views that I get. And guess what? They go even deeper. This is where, let's say I have 72% of audience members in Puerto Rico. So when they're partnering, when they're trying to merge, when they're trying to look for advertisement, they're going to say, oh, well, this podcast focused on majors and minors, focused on music and music production, has a good following in Puerto Rico. I can send some ads her way. Then from there, it goes even deeper when we're talking about our audience. You're able to check to see if you're reaching your right audience. For myself, I'm reaching my right audience. And so it's able to tell me the ages that, or the gender of people that are listening to my content. And then when you get even deeper, you're able to see which episodes did the best. So you know which content you may want to revisit. And so top episode. So right here we see my top episode was about an alpha male. The second one, or the one that was really important to me, which it shows up different because that says 126, but it says 9 right here. I felt like this was my top episode and I had people telling me about it. like, oh my goodness, we listened to this. And so now I know that people want to hear about a Black Republican, or women or whoever's listening wants to hear about alpha males versus beta males. And so that lets me know how I can tailor my content to continue to get more audience, more listeners. Okay.
DJ Fahim had a question.
Yes, sir.
I just wanted to tell you that I signed up for Anchor.
You're going to love it. Awesome. And so once you have that anchor up, then we're talking about making your page, not page, but your cover, and so that's going to be displayed on all social platforms. I would like to point out that the Anchor sends it to all the platforms. So you put it on Anchor and you schedule it for Monday 8 a.m. You wake up Monday 8 a.m. It's on Apple, it's on Spotify, it's on Pandora, etc., etc. Anybody know more than that? It's on all those platforms already, because you, like we talked about Umbrella, Anchor is that umbrella, and it's sending it to all of the other platforms for you. So that's going to be great, DJ Fahim.
Do you have to be signed up for those other platforms for them to send it?
No.
Oh, they just do it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I've officially set up my Scarlet and ready to record.
This is awesome.
And when I do like my own podcast, what would I say instead of Uptown Fresh?
Do you have a brand name for yourself?
No. So what I just like, because I'm like, do I
Or not at
still
all. I
say?
don't say it.
Yeah,
I
you don't have to say Uptown Fresh. You don't.
Okay.
I'm just
I
like, hey
mean,
y'all, this is Kelly. You know,
that was just,
so
I think she
Mhm.
was just giving you an example of how you could flow with your intro. But Uptown Fresh is not a requirement for your podcast.
And also remember that that template that I gave you is not the official template. And if you do this wrong and don't include this, then they're like, oh, don't include India's podcast on iTunes. It's not like that, right? You do what you want to do. Everybody starts it off, but I just gave you an example so that you could help formulate your words and your organize a little bit better. But once you get into the flow of what you do it your way. I do it my way. Because after a while, I'm like, I'm losing focus. So I want to switch it up and do X, Y, and Z. And then, because I want people to be engaged just like I want to be engaged while I'm editing it, you know?
Yeah, like Racquel was saying when she was showing you those graphics, you might, kind of, trying to figure out what your audience is really, liking more of, as far as the statistics are concerned, where you might think, oh, they want to hear, I thought they might be more interested in some of these teen conversations. I thought they might be interested in more of the conspiracy stuff, but I seem to get a bigger audience or more views or more listeners when it comes to my music. So you might lean a little bit more heavier in that direction, which then may require you to change your intro, because now you're not necessarily covering the teen stuff like you had originally planned. You're not covering the conspiracy stuff like you had originally planned. You're changing the entire, and then you might even have some sponsors, which would have gone into the place of where Uptown Fresh theoretically would have been, could have been, if that was direction that you want to move forward with. So all of this is, you're creating a recipe. It's kind of like you're making a beat. And there's some stuff that you realize after you listen to that beat long enough, like, you know what, I'm going to redo this beat. I'm going to take this out. I'm going to move this around. And I think it's going to flow completely differently. So in a way, you're chopping up your intro the way that you would chop up your music. So take that into consideration if that helps.
Awesome. This has been great, guys. We are now 1 minute over. If you all have any questions, Ciandris has, she sent you my email address. I can just ask for her to send that again if you all have any questions. And I hope to see you all soon. You all accomplished a lot today. So you can go ahead and pat yourself on the back. Awesome, guys.
Guess what?
If I had thought about it, I would have had my clapping, cheering sound effect that I could have played right then and there, but it's all good. Well, listen, Racquel, you definitely did a great job today. Kids, you really re-excited me, with the smiles and the laughter and the music being played on all, across the board. And I think next week we're going to probably do a little bit more one-on-one. Oh, and lastly, we are actually doing a community cleanup on May the 1st. So if we'll send you some information, and if you think that you can come out, it'll at least give you an opportunity for you to see some of us face to face. What I would say is you don't necessarily have to participate in the cleanup. What you could do as a part of the editing of video and audio and pictures, you could come out and just document what we're doing, and then we can bring it into the sessions and help you guys kind of edit maybe some of the pictures as far as the affinity photo stuff. If you do any video, kind of work on some of the video editing. And if you decide that you want to uh, do some type of recording as far as podcast material, where you may be speaking to some of the people that are on site, then we can also get back to working on that as well. So Sandris or DJ would definitely, make sure that you're aware that on May the 1st, which is Saturday, we're going to be doing that. Okay.
I am.
All right. With that being said, Sandris, DJ.
Awesome. Good job, guys. Good job.
Everybody, have a good afternoon.
Okay, you too. Thank you.
Thank you. See you, India.
Bye.
All right.
Bye.
Come on, guys.
DJ.
Oh, yeah.
You still there?
Yeah.
So what'd you think?
Oh man, that right there was dope. Super dope. Like, yeah.
You know what? Can you get on video? Let me see if I can't get you on video real quick.
Where we
I want
at?
to go on video. Excuse me. I don't know what is going on with this camera. I'm getting all kinds of craziness. You still there?
Yeah, I'm here. Hold on. What is this?
Okay. Yeah, I thought that was was it plan, produce, publish, and promote.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you know what? Since I'm obviously in this class, let me go ahead and put something together real quick, just to kind of as far as Instagram is concerned, document what happened today. Now that we're at the the tail end of this first half, and we're not going to necessarily do the publication layout. We could kind of sort of, that would probably be something as far as getting the kids to to bring up their affinity photo, and then working on some type of design, not necessarily going too hard body as far as the magazine is concerned, but just kind of give them an opportunity to kind of mess around with the affinity photo to kind of see where they're at. If anything, is kind of a reminder from today was when she asked, what are those 4 P's? I didn't remember it, and actually reminds me of being in theater school when you haven't been in the truck in about a week. You kind of forget some of them tools. You know what I mean? So, as a matter of fact, let me go ahead and pay. I already had it set up to pay Racquel, so I want her to go ahead and get her money. I feel good that that it showed up on time. But so I'm theoretically I'm expecting them to not remember how to use Affinity Photo, because that was 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks ago. You know what I mean? And if you haven't been using it, then yeah, theoretically you're probably going to lose a lot of that memory. And then the following week will be the video podcasting / if you can come out to the community cleanup, this would be a way for us to kind of put eyes on you to see who you're dealing with, for you to almost get some community community service in the context of the Uptown Fresh, and just documenting whether it's pictures, whether it's video, and then kind of bringing that back into the class on May the 8th, and kind of just continue to go from there. But as far as Racquel did, I thought she did a great job, and she's definitely somebody that we should be building, maybe an entire 6 to 8 week program just on podcasting.
Well, maybe just bring her around. Maybe like she's like the the actual like she used to teach
It's somebody, it's somebody, it's somebody that you should be communicating with about what you think she can bring to Arts Uptown Greensboro.
Mhm.
And then if she's not a nonprofit, which I'm assuming she's not, if she has her own ideas of what a program would look like, then we could apply for that and make sure that make sure we all get funded, put it that way. You know what I mean?
Mhm. Mhm.
So if you want to reach out to her, and I would almost say, how do we even find her? Was it through Ciandris?
Right, that's Sienna's people right there.
Okay. Have this conversation with Ciandris first before you reach out to Racquel.
Mhm.
Because I think if because if Ciandris is our plug to Racquel, leverage that conversation and what she thought about and what she thinks how we can use Racquel moving forward, as far as continuing to do this podcast stuff.
Not
Because
only
I
the
thought she,
podcast stuff, but you know, across the board. Keep in mind now, uh, we want this to continue on, even though without the funding, whatnot, this can
oh
continue on. You know what I mean? So next year,
yeah,
for next year's program, Raquel is on deck, like no question. Like she got
well,
to be
well
a part of the Fresh Kids program as the the lead instructor. So we're gonna have her in on this, that, and the third. Then we have
oh,
special guests. She,
actually, I came up with when a potential next class could actually start. I was going to give us a month off after May 29th, which would start us around July. Granted, and actually, I might even take this entire week out and put us at, at and this is just stream of conscious. July 10th and 11th, which I think will be a Saturday and a Sunday. My bad. Joined Alana's meeting and didn't realize I was muted. Oh, okay. Um, where am I? Calendar. May, June, July. Yeah. If we were to continue to do this and giving us a month between when this particular program ended and when the next one could theoretically begin, and it could be recalibrated, but want to be respectful of the team. But at the end of the day, this is you and I having this conversation to kind of see, where you feel, based on our conversation. Hey, when do you think we could theoretically start a whole nother program? Additionally, I don't know if I told you this or not. I don't know if we talked yesterday. I can't remember. But
yeah,
did we?
yeah,
Yeah, we talked last night.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Uh, and I told you that oh yeah, because you're like, Joe,
Right.
I don't know about your video. Okay. Um, with the fencing academy, I'm wondering if I could parlay some type of opportunity for us to have a physical location to bring these kids in. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean?
Mm-hmm.
Granted, because of their own hours, um, and this is still thinking, into the future, uh, would 4 o'clock in the afternoon be too late? You know what I mean? Versus 11 o'clock, which is probably the preferred time as far as having kids come through. But we'll figure it out as we go. If it even means we have to find our own location that will allow us to, to be able to use those particular hours, whatever the case may be. But knowing that this program ends when it ends, at least look at the calendar and see, because if we end on May 29th, how much time after May 29th do you think a new class, Uptown Fresh class, could start?
Mm-hmm.
And then it sounds like Racquel would be teaching just a podcasting class, and how many, and once again, it's then and this is a conversation that you're going to probably end up having with Ciandris to say, hey, if we did another if we did another Uptown Fresh class, which is just specifically about podcasting, when do you think, since this one is ending, would be a good time to start promoting so we can start getting kids for that one? You know what I mean?
Yeah, the whole thing is like today to me was kind of cool because we just now seeing these kids open up. Like we just got Fahim. This is second.
Matthew. Oh yeah, Fahim, DJ
So
Fahim.
India been there since day one. So
Oh,
we got, like,
DJ. I don't think his name is DJ. His name is Matthew. I think DJ is DJ Fahim as in DJ, not
right.
you know.
We made music and everything. So we just now
Right.
So after all these weeks, they're just now opening up. So
Well, he's only been in 2 classes. I think he was in the video production class, and then he missed last week, and then he came in this week. You know what I mean? And it looked like what's her name? Iris? Is that her name?
Who? India?
India. Looked like India's dad might have been in the room, or some dude was in there. You didn't see at the end? Yeah, somebody walked out of the room. I'm like, oh, okay. You know, I guess there was somebody.
Fahim had got up and came back.
No. Somebody walked out
in front of the brick wall.
Yeah, but there was a door in the corner, wasn't there? Okay,
it?
I have to go back and look at the video. Unfortunately, I recorded it. Matter of fact, I'm gonna go ahead and stop this at this point. I think we're good.